Hello. Are we live? Oh yeah, yeah, we're live. We're live. We're live. We're live. We are live. Okay, here's a huge disclaimer. I see that my internet connection is pretty weak. So if you see me freeze or whatever, please let me know. Please let me know because I see the icon is looking like it's a weak connection we are having tonight. But yeah, how's everybody? How has your Thursday been? We are this close to the weekend, and this week was closed with a bang in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial. When the state rested its case, and then we had the defense making a surprise but not surprising intentions to lodge an application, a section 174. I mean, I've already explained what that is in the last video. In case you didn't see it, it's basically an application that is made after the state has presented its case and the evidence, and then the defense listened, took notes, participated either through an objection, excuse me, also through a request of, as we've seen, how the state was just kept bringing new evidence through the back door. Of course, many of us observing, like, how is it possible that the beginning of this trial, we had Hepworth 1928 that was supposed to be a guidance to both the state and the defense, that a trial, it is not a game or something of that nature, and yet games were played by the state, of course, to the powerlessness of the defense because this is not their case. And then we saw a judge who introduced this particular precedent, the 1928 Hepworth, is it R versus Hepworth, and how he himself was going against that guideline. So, which to me eventually made me realize that Hepworth was a manipulative tool against the defense so that the defense will learn to shut up, also not to get away with what they needed to so that they can protect their clients from prejudice. And that is why Sibanda, whenever he got a chance to present something in court, he would always recite R versus Hepworth. Balo used to do it a lot too, but he realized that the public out there isn't manipulated by this president. And of course, the clan was like, but wait a minute, shouldn't we be getting a constitutional, meaning post 1994 precedences that will be a guidance of some sort, not something that happened when South Africa was still under the British rule? Because we all know that our law, or our, how do we put this, our criminal justice, it is a British and Dutch law, with some Roman law as well in there. So we are a constitutional democracy. If you are going to quote or recite any matter in the democratic South Africa, you should quote cases that happened within that realm because they carry more weight, in our opinion, when we call this one out. Like, no, no, clearly the 1928 uh, guideline, what is very suppressive to the defense. And the defense every time, but the person that broke through it and said, I ain't gonna listen to this crap, was the late Mr. Mgomezulu. Mr. Mgomezulu was like, I'm not that guy. I am not that guy when it comes to this Hepworth thing. I think there were several times where they will quote it and he will quote a constitutional precedent. And this is when Baloy began to move away from Hepworth, but Sibanda got stuck in it, which was quite clear that this is a manipulative tool that was being used by both the judge as well as the second bench, or the second chair, which is Sibanda. So we come a long way with this matter, a very, very long way. and we've had Gininda understand since October 2024, and he just got off it, I think, in June. So how many months is that? Over 6 months, he's been on the stand simply because they keep playing these games that goes against the R versus Hapworth because it became a game to them. The cooking and the fabrication and all of that stuff all boiled it down to what? At the end of the day, to what? Because the evidence that was placed on the table, especially from Vodacom, from the doctors, the dentist who was all men to all things, we've had the crime scene experts who were just contradicting themselves, and we had one police officer after another, which made us think, wait a minute, was Senzo unalived in the police station? What's going on? And the one that took the cup for us is most of the evidence that was presented in like 5 years after the fact, after Senzo Meyiwa was unalived. It was stuff that they dug up in 2019 and 2020. And the most recent application they presented was, I think, January of 2025. And you're like, but then what? Where is the evidence of the 26th of October 2014? Was it ever presented in this trial? No, I don't remember. The only thing that I remember is Steenkamp's what do you call that thing again? Identikit. Maybe that's the only thing that we had that was from 2014. But everything else, the 205s got lost. If they're not lost, Vodacom no longer keep those records. Convenient, I would say, very very convenient. So they relied a lot on 2019, 2020 evidence. What about of the 2014 evidence? Dololo. And then you're going to have people who say, oh, they presented a good case. The state presented a good case. And I'm thinking, okay, okay, you and in your world, who are we? We're not going to come to your world. We're not invited. And I don't think any of us would want to be in that world. What we care about is something that is tangible, something that we can smell and taste, right? That's who we are on this in this community called the clan. And we've questioned a lot of things, a lot of things. So we've been through it. We've been through it. We've also been through some unsavory physical contacts. Clearly, either for intimidation purposes or something more sinister than that. But of course, we're like, we're not going to keep quiet. We're not going to keep quiet because at the end of the day, it's starting to look like in South Africa, and we've also discussed this before. It was starting to look like in South Africa, if the police are failing to solve a case, they would use this so-called cold case unit. And somebody said, the Senzo Meyiwa matter was not even a cold case because a cold case is, I think they said it's that has not been solved in 10 years or something like that. And Senzo's case in 2020 hadn't hit that threshold yet. But yeah, hey, maybe in South Africa, a cold case is anything beyond 6 months, 12 months. I don't know what the definition of a cold case in South Africa yet. If you are in the know, please educate us. Because here in the clan, we are all about learning. That's how we are able to put things together, rub our two IQs, and make sense of what we are learning. But some people are like, no, a cold case is about 10 years and unresolved. And so a specialist of some sort will then start looking through those old, like goes to the archive and then resuscitate that case and it becomes hot again when they start finding leads of some sort. Sometimes it's because technology at the time was not advanced as it is today. For example, if you look at the DNA, I think the science was discovered sometime early 90s, but it was also still crawling and growing. And that is why there's a guy called, what is it, Pete Battlefield. He used to arrest a lot of the early 90s serial unalivers, and he began to start catching them through DNA. And I thought we had a cold case unit under him, but clearly, apparently, we never did until 2019 when Brigadier Kininda was appointed at its head, I suppose. So sometimes it's because technology is not advanced, and when the technology advances, that is when they go back and check like cold cases if the technology will not be relevant for that particular case or whatever the case might be. So with this one, I mean, the DNA, the hatch was there. What else? Fingerprints. Of course, they lost the weapon, lost the weapon. Instead, they brought a different one, and yet eyewitnesses are saying something totally different. So, Jay, we've been through it with this case, guys. We have been through it with this case. And when Baloy rested his case today, I think all of us were relieved. I mean, I was seeing in the comment section, people were relieved, like, whew, finally, we don't have to hear this nonsense and us being patronized by Baloy and his crew like that. And but then again, then came to launch section 174. All right, guys, if I'm freezing, please do let me know because hey, my Wi-Fi is not make sure tonight. Okay, let me go to the live chats because, of course, this is how we do it. The live goes according to what you guys say in the live chat, and then we have an in-depth um, conversation. I saw somebody complaining about the title of the video saying it's a clickbait, and I'm like, if you understand the concept of clickbait, therefore you should also understand the debunking of a clickbait title. A clickbait is when somebody puts a title that is shocking or maybe it evokes an emotion, and then when you start watching the video, it doesn't talk about what is in the title. That's clickbaiting and it's wrong. But that my one is not even a clickbait because there are quotation marks in there. And I don't understand why people don't understand this. Okay, anyways, we've already discussed people like that here extensively. But for you to be able to identify such a thing, you should have listened and understood, like, oh, okay, I see. Because he is now debunking it in the video. Had I just said that title and I don't talk about it in the video, then that would have been wrong. That would have been debunking a title is very important. And I debunked it. Yes, there were quotation marks because indeed the state has ended its case. Anyways, let's continue. Mark Baker says it's safer to roll a dice and get your answer that way. Chances are, like all or most of the judiciary, he's captured too and will rule in the criminal's favor, sadly. You know what? I was looking, I just had a relook at Judge Ratha's demeanor. I know what you're going to say. I know what you're going to say. He has dribbled me before, but something different after the inspection in local. That's when Judge Ratha began to have a shift in his demeanor that I have never seen before. And my question in my head was, what did you just realize, Mr. Ratha, about the state? Because he realized something. He definitely realized something, and it did not sit well with him. It didn't. It changed him. So let's see. I see a lot of predictions people are making that he's going to rule in favor of the state when they oppose the Section 174. I am saying he's actually going to grant it from where I am standing and what I think he discovered in Fosloras. I think he's going to grant the 174 because, come on, 55 years in this field, he definitely knows when he's being played as a judge. I'm sure of it. And he prides himself of being the disciple of Nelson Mandela. I mean, we know that Nelson Mandela, if he was in that position, he would have chosen uh, you would have chosen justice. He would have chosen justice. That's what he would have done. So let's see how it goes when they return on the 7th of August. But I am saying, from what I think he discovered in Fosloras, he is going to rule in favor of the defense. There's no case yet. The state did not prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Too many loopholes. I would have understood if they were just. But what a lacuna is not like a gap in between a piece of law that could, which is ambiguous. It doesn't. It can mean this. It can also mean that because the meanings are too many, or it's just missing. I know it's a gap in law or something. I don't know. Uh, I don't think so. But hey, let's see. Maserame says, if he does not, what next? Then what next is the defense then will have to present its rebuttal of the evidence. So basically, everything that Baloy has put on the table, they're going to rebut it and come up with their own witnesses and evidence to prove against what the state has presented in court. So the nice part about it is that every witness that the state did not call, they are at the defense's disposal. That includes Kelly Kumalo, Longa Twala, Mapiri, Makumalo, all these important people that we kept asking when are they going to take the stand? Yes, including Ubab Zungu. So that unless that's what Rata would want, in case he's a little bit more curious, especially to hear from key witnesses that the state ought to have called to make his final decision. I think that's what will happen. Maserema says if he grants the application, what next? If he grants it, that's it. They are acquitted. Case closed. And the same charges can never be bestowed on either of them because if they did, that will be double jeopardy and it's against the law. So they'll be free. And this is when now the salivation comes in because this is malicious prosecution number one, wrongful arrest. Let's take it a step at a time. This was a wrongful arrest number one, which is suable. There was a term that Mr. Mnisi used this morning on Mr. Koza. What was it? Local standi. Local standi. I looked it up. It basically means you are a legal person, whether you're a company or a physical human being that can be sued, and you also can sue. So when he said you are not a local standard, you are just a human being, it basically means what do you call this? You are not the correctional services to make the call that you have come here to court for, unless it's the correctional services that makes an application to reverse the order. You just as Mr. Koza, you have no local standard. You're just a human being. You are Mr. Koza against a ruling that was made by a judge, a local standard, or some sort like that. So that's what the accused now will do. They become local standard as free people who were wrongfully arrested and maliciously prosecuted for a crime they did not commit, where they lost, especially in Tanzi as well as Muzisibia, they lost opportunities as young people because we don't know where life would have taken them, whether educated or not. There are a lot of uneducated people who are wealthy today, living wealthy lifestyles. Why? Because life happened and it favored them one way or the other. They could have won the lotto if they played the lotto, or they could have some business person who wants to give up their wealth and say, "Oh, because oh you showed me kindness," and they sign off their wealth up to anything can happen. It's life, right? So they lost all of those opportunities. Wundanzi being employed, probably today he would probably be the CEO of. I'm not saying, but he could be a CEO today. Who knows? And all those opportunities got lost. And because he is also been in jail since 2020, his dignity was infringed on. And now the community as well, in as much as he will be acquitted, there'll be those. Remember Team State? Yeah, you remember Team State? For them, he will always be an Inkabi, meaning now he's being defamed without them actually telling him straight in his face that he's an Inkabi. So that label on its own, you can sue for it. You can sue for it. So loss opportunities, loss of income, also the loss of seeing your children growing in front of you, the struggle they've been through, emotional distress, ooh, the trauma, you name it, all of that they can sue for. And I am saying, don't just sue the state. Don't sue, because the thing is, police officers get away with a lot because nobody sues them personally. And I'm saying if I had to be mistreated by the people that works for the state, yes, I'm going after the state in a lawsuit, but I'm also going to go to the person because the state cannot be in existence without the person. And the state has a rule, right? Do not inflict pain. But the human being, because of their prejudices or because of their ambitions to be promoted, they forced me to make a confession through tubing, kicking, punching, and all of that other stuff that they went through. Number one and two, and now I'm going for you personally. I'm going for your pension. I'm going for your salary. I want you to feel exactly what my family felt. So I'm suing the state and the individual jointly and severally. That's what I would do. And I hope they will take that route as well. So that other people that work for the state in a position like a police officer or a warden of a prison, they'll be like, whoa, I don't want my pension touched. This is for my children. This is for me and my dignity as well. So I think it's about time we started doing something like that so that we curb this curb actually so that we curb something like this from ever happening. So I don't know what route they are going to take in getting some remedy, a legal remedy for all this they've been put through in the past almost 6 years now. So yeah, I hope that answers your question. I'm just adding also my own things in there that if it was me who was in that position, I'm not just going for the state. I'm going for the humans as well, who were supposed to do their job without hurting me, forcing me to do things that I did not do clearly. So yeah, let's see. Nkosnati says, by the look of things, would not allegedly monies would have to be paid to all smeared. Well, unfortunately, it has to be paid. It has to be paid. It doesn't matter which, there's always a review. The Judge Ratha can take a decision to say no monies. But at the end of the day, we live in a constitutional democracy where people's liberties were taken away from them maliciously and they were maliciously prosecuted. I don't think that they will be stopped from taking any civil action. I don't think so. Babes says if Section 174 is granted, that means the accused are acquitted and discharged immediately. Yes, yes. If 174 is rejected, then the defense must present its case. Yeah, they defense indeed. Lucia says he must. Well, we'll see how he does. Let's see how he does it. And Dombi says, if Rata was a credible judge, he should grant Section 174, but he is not. So he will not grant it. Well, at this point, with what I think I saw, I'm probably getting dribbled again by him, but I think something shifted in him after the inspection in local. Mamu Happy says, my like is in already. Thank you. Please like the live, guys. Please click the like. I will highly appreciate that. Thank you for reminding me. I always forget. Dimple, how are you doing? I also want to know if Section 174 is granted. Is Kelly going to walk free or the family can open a case against it? Now, that is another thing that I was asking. But then again, sitting by myself, rubbing my two IQs together, and I'm like, no, they were never accused. They were never accused. If Kelly Kumalo was accused number six, and then 174 is granted, that means, yeah, she walks away a free woman. But at the end of the day, according to our law, unaliving a person is a crime, whether you did it by accident or by intentions. Somebody, I can't remember, I think it was, what's his name? Advocate Defu. We was talking to, was it Nsiki or somebody else? But remember back in the days of Oscar Pistorius, we were talking about Dolus this and Dolus. I think it was Dolus Eventualis and Dolus Directors. Of course, we had to go and check what all those means, you know. So yeah, one has intentions, the other one doesn't have intentions, but the result is the same as the one who had an intention to unalive a person. So yeah, no, that means the people in the house will, and besides that, we have Officer Makubo with a whole docket called 375. Now that needs to be tested. It has to be tested in a court of law. That means all the people that were in the house will have to get arrested and then brought before the very process that these five went through. And that's for me what justice will look like. That's how justice will look like. And I'm telling you, nobody wants to go to jail for somebody else. Somebody's going to talk. Somebody's going to say, oh, no, I'm talking now. And maybe they will turn into a state witness if they're smart. They will turn into a state witness. Linda says, so does it mean that the defense doesn't have a witness? No, they do. They do. Oh, yeah, they do. They now have Hubab Zungu. And remember, they also requested to call Zungu, I think Musia as well. I can't remember who's the second person there. Is it Muhola? Please remind me in the comments when they asked that Caesar Zungu be called. So yeah, he'll be recalled. But Ubab Zungu will play a key role. Makubo also will play a key role. We don't know who else they were lining up as witnesses in their favor. Oh, Butelezi, even though she's now in the private sector, from what I understand, maybe she agreed to testify in favor of the defense. So we'll see how that goes. What will happen if Rata said no to 174? Then they'll have to, yeah, present their defense. They'll have to present their defense. And I hear some people say Rata will reject the application because he will want to hear the defense's side of the story. Um, but then again, Section 35 of the Constitution still has to kick in as well, where, because the thing is, we saw in the trial within a trial as well, where these guys, they know they are innocent, but sometimes you would say something on the stand only to sound like you're incriminating yourself. Yet you have the right to remain silent. And the judge can utilize that section of the Constitution, especially if the state has not made its case. Now, why would you open the door for them to incriminate themselves, and yet the Constitution frowns upon something like that? I don't know. Somebody please educate us on that one. I'm just having my two IQs here on this one. Class Chowke says, good evening, Mr. Clantus. We are near for justice. Those people were in the house must tell us the truth. Who shot Usenzo? How are you doing, class? It's good to see you this evening as well. Yeah, I think that's where justice will be served the moment these people that were with Senzo are brought before the court, arrested and brought before the court. I think all of them should be charged with murder. They will just have to reduce the charge one by one as they begin to talk on the stand, from murder to defeating the ends of justice. But all of them, same charge. And then they're going to have to prove it that I'm not the one who pulled the trigger. Patience says, Hi, Clances. If 1928 Tarvin attender rejects Section 174, the defense must call Ubab Zungu. Good evening to you, Patience. Yeah, definitely. All the state witnesses who lied under oath to be arrested allegedly. Yeah, I mean, they perjured themselves. If the state had no case, they'll have to answer. Where did you get all of this evidence from? What made you so confident about what you were saying on the stand? Yeah, that is why I am saying there is a civil claim there for the accused. They might not go the route of criminal charges against them. I'm saying go for their pensions. Hit them where it hurts the most. Just like you were hit where it hurts the most. Your children suffered, your family suffered. We saw Danzi's father crying. I mean, it was just sad. Let's also not forget Senzo's parents. One even left this earth heartbroken. Some people believe actually he passed on from a broken heart. I believe that. I can actually believe that he passed on from a broken heart. So all that damage, and I think the Maywas themselves, they should go for a lawsuit for miscarriage of justice or the travesty of justice, whichever way they wanna call it. Elsie, how are you doing, Elsie? No, Rata, my Ratis will not grant Section 174. Defense knows this. Oh well, it's best to take a chance. It's best to take a chance. Tendai, you at last. What's up, Tendai? What? I hope you're good. Ndombi says during that confrontation episode between the accuser and the warders, what struck me was Rata's first question to know whether Ndanzi was also involved in the scuffle. I remember that, and we all like, what was the plan? What was the plan? Because clearly it sounded as if this was staged because it came out from nowhere, out of the blue. And the clan started pulling out photos of Kletcher case and how Kletcher was sitting on top of those what do you call the rails of the benches in the gallery. Why nobody said anything? Yeah, I think we even remember the guy's name. I think it was Vusi Jello or something like that, that allegedly started that scuffle. And the question was, and do you also remember how Sibanda will falsely accuse Miss Mshololo or something that she didn't do? Remember the so-called classified documents? I think it was Sibanda who says, yeah, they're reading the classified info and they're showing to the defense, and the confusion that it caused the defense. I wonder what was the strategy there and what was the plan, because clearly that plan failed flat on its face. Will Danzi be a fall guy? Well, maybe they wanted him to be a fall guy, maybe to break him. I don't know what the plan was, but definitely there was a strategy there. Elsie says, defense just want to get facts from Rata and Baloy so they know how to attack with their defense. It's a good move. Well, it was definitely, especially when he put it on record regarding the stuff that were not brought by the state, like the Qashqai AVL and one of the Fortuners AVL and other stuff that they had requested, and it didn't come to the fore. And yet, Mr. Baloy says they did, and we're like, yeah, because you were talking about vehicles that they were not fit with the AVL. And I still say that the defense should also request for Brigadier Kininda's AVL on his personal car for the days that he denied he ever saw Undanzi for the first time in Pretoria, as well as the Fosloras, the 30th of May. I want to see something. Subpoena those AVLs. But I'm telling you, it's going to be convenient. Oh, no, at that time, the car was brand new. I hadn't fit in the tracker yet. I'm sure that's the story we're going to hear. Dorothy says, guys, why do the defense need a legal aid approval for section? Because it costs money. Remember, if applications, they cost money. To make an application in court, it's money. And this is the high court. And from what I understand, yeah, guys, I learned something. Whatever you do in your life, whatever you do in your life, do it the straight and narrow. If it doesn't happen now, be patient. Oh, and I'm not encouraging you to give it up. Don't give up. Do it the right way. Because number one, to get a lawyer, remember you get a lawyer who's going to represent you. And from what I understand, for consultation, it's 3,500 Rand per 15 minutes. And part thereof, when they say part thereof, that means if you were consulting with your lawyer for 15 minutes and then that 3,500 Rand is over, and then the moment the clock hits 16, that's the second 3,500 Rand for the next 15 minutes. And a what do you call this? An advocate 10 times that sometimes 100 times that. It depends on the type of advocate you are going for. I mean, I remember the Oscar Pistorius matter. I think one of his lawyers was like 55,000 Rand an hour. And 55,000 Rand, and I think it was a junior advocate in the team of lawyers. 55,000 Rand just an hour in court. And on top of that, apparently, when your lawyer leaves the office, that's time counted. And let's say your matter is in Johannesburg and you live in Pretoria. Every kilometer is counted and you will pay for it. And if the matter is postponed, that's it. You're gonna pay for that daytime. Whatever you do, whether especially if you have a boy child, I don't know how you're gonna chain them down. Especially if you know they got questionable friends with questionable characters. Because it doesn't end with Shishilizama bench. It involves your bank account. They could wipe you clean. You end up selling your cars. If you have cars, you end up selling your house, your furniture, and all of that stuff, as if you're the one who sent your child to do those things. The people that are getting arrested right now for all the fraud and corruption, see them when they are done with their cases, gone. Oscar Pistorius was almost a billionaire at some point, from what I understand. By the time he went to jail, he was at minus zero. Minus zero. So just be careful. Just do your best that you never ever have to do something like that in your life. Yeah. Yeah, so as I was saying, that every application in the High Court it costs money, so that is why they have to go to Legal Aid Board to speak to them that they intend to lodge an application at 174. Of course, that's money. If a Legal Aid Board was not on the one that was paying them, the accused were the ones that were going to have to pay for that application. And apparently, A high court application is not cheap. Just like a judgment in the high court can go up to 5 million rand, apparently. A judgment. Whew, wow. Hmm. It even worse if it goes to the constitutional court. And not only, before it even gets to the constitutional court, when it goes to appeal, remember the appeal starts with the judge, Ratha. Ratha has to grant the appeal if there is a prospect of a higher court coming to a different conclusion. And then that sometimes they'll say, you might say, okay, we'll have a full bench that's going to listen to the appeal. That means 3 to 5 judges make a full bench, and that's expensive. And then when they grant it, it goes to the Supreme Court of Appeal, and the money as well goes up. If the High Court can be 5 million, up to about 5 million rand, can you imagine the Supreme Court of Appeal and the Constitutional Court? Man, just stay out of trouble. That's all I'm going to say. Just stay out of trouble. Babe says we have been through a lot, and worst thing is them thinking that we are going to forget about what was said before de novo. Well, the before de novo, I did not watch, but I'm catching on a lot of things that have changed in the de novo trial versus what was said in the first trial. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. But something tells me that Judge Ratha did go back and listen to Maumela's presiding over the matter and what the real story is. For example, Zandile's testimony, because apparently there was some bit of changes in her testimony. Same goes with Tumelo Madlala. In the first trial, he was more emotionally, he was crying, and there's a lot that he said that he did not say in the new trial. So I'm sure Judge Ratha went back and checked what is he dealing with exactly here. Because he does pride himself with his job, and he said he's a very thorough person. That's what he said today. He's a very thorough person. He's never been late, and all of that. And when he said that, I was like, it makes sense why the camera panned yesterday. I think that was so sneaky. If you didn't see it, I don't know. I saw it. I was like, oh, okay. I see. I get the message, sir. I get the message. It's not you who was disrespecting the court's time. It's the correctional services. I mean, even what's his name, Koza, admitted that next time he's gonna make sure that the accused are in court on time. Like, shouldn't you have been doing that all along? And now we're busy blaming Judge Ratha. But then again, Judge Ratha, that's his courtroom. He's the manager of that court. And if the accused are being brought in late, then he should chastise correctional services guys. But at the same time, I think he also wants to respect their functionality and their operations. So he doesn't want to seem to be overreaching and imposing himself. Maybe there are things that happen there that he's not aware of. Okay, I think I get it. I think I get why he was not chastising them. I'm just thinking. Shonisha says, I think the application 174 is a great thing for case law. Yeah, yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree, as it's a high court matter. But what precedents are they going to be using, though? I kept thinking, what precedent? Maybe they're going to use Jacob Zuma, the accusation of RPing that lady. But on what grounds, though? But yeah, I'm sure there are precedences that they're going to use. But yeah, definitely, this is great for case law. And I'm sure the first year law students from 2027, they are going to have a great time with this case. Like, amazing time with this case. Plus, should Meta go to appeal, lawyers would have tried. Yeah, definitely. Most definitely. I mean, what's his name? The late Mgome Zulu realized that Play Nice was not working. So let's put everything on record. Everything, including him making that accusation that one is tempted to assume that there's collusion between the state and the judge. And of course, we heard Judge Ratha bursting in anger, and he went for him to a point where he threatened to sue him for defamation of character. That was done deliberately for the record, so that if this matter does get to the Supreme Court of Appeal, they also investigate if there was collusion uh, between the state and the judge. I think that was the strategy by the late Ngomezu. I could be wrong, just me rubbing my two IQs and observing what's happening there. Yo, my brain, by this case, I overworked, but I also learned so much. So many things that we've been ignorant about. I mean, these days you can't tell me much. I mean, I feel like I could actually walk into a criminal court and represent somebody, possibly even win. That's how I feel. I don't know how you feel, but that's how I've learned so much. So much. But it is what it is. Elsie says after section 174, I think you meant to say, defense should ask Rather to recuse himself. At this point, it's too late. At this point, defense needs to shake all facts out of them. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be. I mean, Rather had an opportunity several times to recuse himself after making some remarks that got everybody up in arms, especially the recent times where he actually asked the accused if this is how they feel, then he would do it, but they didn't do it. They didn't do it. I think they got advice from their lawyers that we're gonna start all over again, and on top of that, they also have to think about the taxpayer who is actually paying the lawyers. So there are a lot of considerations that needed to be made because it was an opportunity for Raka himself to recuse himself. But I think there would have been too much damage caused. Anyways, if he rules against them, there's court of appeal. There's court of appeal. Musa Nkosinati says the defense must apply for a discharge based on the state case being weak and circumstantial at best. State clearly failed the threshold of beyond a reasonable doubt by a mile and a half. I would say by a million miles because their case died immediately it started. The moment those two officers took the stand, we're like, done. I was actually surprised that we went beyond that. And then I thought, okay, let's hear about the hat. The hat came, DNA came, they were not there. 2%. Because from what I understand, as Black people, they will always be, especially if we come from the same tribe, there will always be that relation somewhere along the line. And that's why somebody else's DNA might match mine, but not the fields that are mentioned there. All those field stuff that was quite complicated to even understand. But at the end of the day, the conclusion was they are all excluded. All five of them excluded. And the interesting part as well is that Mapisa, who was not even in the house, he matched, I think, with Ndanzi in some fields. So he was not in the house though. So yeah, I thought that was the end of the matter. I know. Then came the gold tooth. Ndanzi was taken to the hospital, to the dentist. The dentist came and he gave us a list of his responsibility, basically the human anatomy, including their teeth. And he said he's never had a gold tooth. There's no trace that he's ever had an insertion. And you thought, okay, definitely Dance is going to be acquitted at least. Like Judge Ratha will start acquitting them one by one. I thought Danzi would have been the first one. Oh no, Danzi continued being part of the trial. And then came the not the AVLs, the cell phone records. By 5:30 on the 26th of October 2014, they were all gone from Phosphorus. and then Senzo is unalived between 5:30 and 8 o'clock. They're already in Joburg. Some are in the hostel already, while the other one proceeded to Soweto, wherever I think he went to. So, and then you would have thought, okay, the judge has had enough or heard enough, and then you thought he continued to a point where uh, Ubani, this one that saw a goal insertion, the recent goal insertion on accused number three, we're like, this is desperation now. This is desperation. You're trying to flog this horse to life, but it has long decayed. You cannot do it unless you want its spirit. I mean, seriously, it was embarrassing. I don't want to lie, especially towards like recently. It was so embarrassing for Sibanda and Judge Balo. I mean, Judge Balo, Advocate Baloy. It was embarrassing. And then now you had Brigadier Kininda pointing in a different direction in the inspection in local. And while Moses Sibia is like, I know everything. What happened? It happened to me. Happened here, here, there, and here's the obstruction I was talking about. And the one that Gininda denied, it's like nowhere to be found, sir. I think that's where Judge Ratha's demeanor actually changed. So I'm thinking now, him having his mouth, I mean, his hand over his mouth was like, oh my word, let me not show the shock I have. You know, I don't know. I don't know. Musa says the defense must apply. Okay, yeah, they definitely, that's the intentions to do that on the 7th. Agnes says, Clancis, it is the Phosphorus plus Baba fungus. Oh my God, Agnes. VMAX says, good evening, Clancis. What's up, VMAX? It's so good to see you. What's up? What's up? Levi says, Rata will not entertain 174 application. He likes stories. I I think he'll get a lot of criticism. I'm telling you, if he actually rejects this application, a lot of criticism. But then again, he's not supposed to listen to outside noise and be influenced by it. So we'll see how it will go. But in the meantime, we are going to be speculating, predicting, discussing, and see how it all goes because he does, from what we've heard from himself, he does watch YouTube. I'm sure he's interested to hear what we think. Hi, Judge Ratha. Hi, sir. Thank you for the maturity and guidance you showed in the past 2 days in your courtroom. Very impressive, sir. I was very impressed. Thank you. Babes says Mshololo backs up the other defenses all the time when they are facing challenges in the court. And the past 2 days, I love how Nisi and Rams stood up with her. Love, 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 love. In Umale as well. Umale is very supportive of everybody. I know sometimes people think that he's disinterested. Again, he has a client that seems to be accompanying the other four. So, what exactly do we expect him to say, Advocate Ngumalo? If the money that he's earning is just falling from the heavens, hey, as other people say, amadloza ake ambegile, as others will also say, God is on his side. Others will tell you, luck is on his side, whichever one that you believe in. And I'm saying, wow, Mr. Ngumalo, lucky you. So he's supportive. He emotionally supports everybody because his client is not mentioned anywhere during this trial. Anywhere. So I think it's unfair when he gets criticized, Umumalo. It's very unfair when he gets criticized because I'm asking myself, are y'all watching the same thing I'm watching? Are you asking the same questions I'm asking about accused number 4, Umapisa? Umapisa, they might as well just acquit him and say, "Sir, you okay? Go and serve your sentences. You are acquitted of this matter." Because what is Mumbai supposed to do? I'm just wondering, what is he supposed to do? But I also love the camaraderie they have with each other. It's absolutely beautiful. Even when Mngomezulu was around, absolutely beautiful. May he rest in peace. I miss him though. I really do. Dolly B says he has no choice. State case is weak. I agree. Absolutely agree. Zakona says he should grant them because the people who was inside that's Paza should they did not come to court. Yeah, it's only Zandi, Mtogo, Tumelo. Yeah, those are the immediate eyewitnesses. I think they were chosen very strategically. Or Aisha, but Paza. Victoria, good evening to you too. VMAX says if Rata has changed, it's due to it should be. It could well be, hey? It could well be because maybe the brief was all the judges, probably the way a memo was sent like, guys, the nation is watching. We live in a different era now. We live in the era of social media. You cannot, as a judge, tell people not to come in with their cell phones. Well, maybe you can if you put an order like the proceedings must not be I don't know, but these days even if you did not record, you sit inside there and you can come back out and report like, hey, this judge kunje kanje. So you don't know how much of Nkatam Kwanazi's expose played a role in some judicial uh, what do you call this personnel when they're presiding over matters in court. I mean, even if when you watch the magisterial level of proceedings, for example, the auditor general that was unalived in Ekuruleni, the magistrate sounds for me. She impressed me. I like the way she was doing things. You look at the AKA accusers back in KwaZulu Natal. I mean, like, not that they were doing anything different, but you could tell this extra effort to make things sound and look fair on both sides, the state as well as the accused. So, oh yeah, I don't know. Maybe it may well be, which is good though. Lily says, I really hope that the judge will grant the 174. Something in judge shifted. Yeah, I'm glad I'm not the only one who sees the shift. And this shift is consistent. It's quite consistent because the Judge Ratha will come in and will all like, and then somewhere he just switches sometime during the day. He has not done that since the matter resumed. He has not done that. Something shifted definitely. But for me, I think it happened in Fosloras. Something he saw, or something he discovered, or something he, using his 55 years experience, was like, oh, I think I know what's going on here. Kate says they must in the dock. There must be. There gotta be. We need them in that dock. Somebody is going to crack, and somebody is going to say to the others, "I'm sorry, guys, I ain't going to jail for you." But the question is, how safe are they going to be if they actually said it out loud? Me, Mina, I would already be at the NDPP's office. I'm telling you, me. Now that I'm saying, hey, oh, Rata, I would be like, may I see Shamila Batohi, please? I have something that I would like to cough up. And while I'm coughing it up, I need to get some guarantees, like, bargaining with the state. And in exchange for the information I have, may I not spend time, not even one day in prison. And yes, you can arrest me, but I should not spend the night in jail. I should be taken straight to a magistrate. Yes, you can publicize that I've been arrested. Go to the magistrate, you know, get charged, do all those things, but turn me into a state witness. I'm willing to talk. That's what I would do. In fact, that's what I would have done back in 2014. I told you guys, Mina, my conscience, I used to paisa, and I think I still do it to this day. If I see something, I go and I say, hey, lo, 1, 2, 3. This matter would have long been resolved, and the Maywas would have gotten justice while the father was still around. Lily says, good evening, Clancis. How are you doing, Lily? So good to see you. Uh, Sipindile says, so what will happen with the 375 as the NPS said it will prosecute it if there is no case against the state? I think this is where General Tlatam Kwanaze also comes in because that decision not to incorporate 375 or 636, somebody needs to answer why or what was the reason behind Nontlantla Kelly Kumalo was not placed under arrest as per the J50 that was prepared by the lead investigator. That prosecutor that took that decision, why did they take that decision? On under what basis? And how would that would have been justifiable to wait for 636 to be over and only to start this process all over again with a whole new docket? That did not make sense to me, and it still doesn't make sense to me to this very day. Incorporate the two then. Make arrest of the five and let them all be accused number 1 to 11, I think they would have been. But so I think this is when Tatam Kwanazi's expose also comes into play. We would like to know who took that decision and why the NDPP thought it was a good idea for Ntlantla not to be arrested in 2020. And as he says, Sifiso can also testify for the defense. Yeah, Sifiso and the brother-in-law who got the call. Remember, what's his name? I think Mr. Shongwane. Was it Mr. Shongwane? Yeah, because I think he's the one who received the call from Utumelo saying that Usenso has been shot by accident or something like that. Hey, my dot. Unfiltered debate. What's happened? Am I saying correctly here? What's up? Let me mark the register. Thank you so much. Unfiltered debate. I cannot see, but I know the colors. I know those colors. When are you a police officer? When? When are you a police officer? You know, I keep contemplating on putting that video in a short and say, hey guys, look at my colleague. He actually is a police officer. But no, I don't think I'll do that. I was laughing. I could not stop laughing when I saw that clip. I'm like, I even forgot what Atlanta Matter was saying. I was just focusing on the guy behind, and I'm like, "Hi, bone gag." And Ubaba needs to talk. Hey, Nangubizo, Ntlantla, look how the German Shepherd. Mara, why Bizo? Why ungenza so? Quickly rule for the admissibility of the confessions and the way he carries himself. It shows he already made up his mind that they are guilty. To this very day, I'm still trying to understand what was the strategy behind because clearly there was lots of contradictions in the trial within a trial. Poison Kulu and people's rights. Yeah, a lot. Section 35 of the Constitution was set aside in the trial within a trial. And I had thought it was going to play a pivotal role in the decision that Ratha was going to take by dismissing the confessions, and therefore this entire case ends. But no, he's like there was no, or he did not address the coercion through violence. He just said that these confessions are admissible, they are real, and then we went to the main trial. My jaw was on the floor. I was like, hey, okay, okay. Paul says the defense application under Section 174 is going to be very compelling. I agree. Absolutely agree. With the recent developments following Kwana's press briefing, I believe the judge will seriously consider the application. Yeah, you and me both. You and me both. Yeah, outside of the shift in his demeanor, I think as well this expose will play a role. And I still think that they did get some sort of a briefing from Judge President or even from Justice Meyer herself. Um, I don't know. But yeah, definitely I agree with you there. Sibanda says, I'm sorry, Sibanda, why I do this to you all the time. I'm so sorry. So sorry. Someone says, hi, Glenn to Santa Clan. How are you doing, Sibanda? Oh, man. Cecil says, evening, Clan. How are you doing, Cecil? It's good to see you watching from Namibia. What's up, Namibia? Namibia is in the house. Love Namibia. One day I'd like to go there, honestly speaking. Mamu Happy says, you are freezing indeed. Oh, man. I'm so sorry, guys. It's bad connection today. Absolutely bad. I apologize. I truly apologize. Webster says, when accused acquitted, then we call Kelly Kumalo Longwe Mapiri Ma Kumalo Omaga Kelly Zandi and arrest them without questioning them because time and money already wasted. No, they still have to go through the judicial process though. Otherwise, it should be a travesty of justice. We always have to consider the Constitution, guys. The moment you become a suspect, the Constitution kicks in. I mean, the Constitution always kicked in even if you are not suspected of a crime. Once you become a suspect and from a suspect to an accused, Section 35 is very much active, and that includes a fair trial. So, yeah, unfortunately. Unlike some other countries, you are accused of a crime in the morning. By this time, you are in an urn. You know what an urn is? It's that thing that where they put your ashes in. Yeah, it's you just get accused, and it's a judgment, and then the conviction. And those countries are the ones that have the. I will never forget that lady from South Africa who was accused of smuggling uh, white powder into China. She was found with it, and South Africa was alerted, and South Africa did everything in its best to try and avert her, you know. And China kind of like said, okay, we're not going to do anything. And then they came back and said, oh, by the time the president and myself were having a conversation that we are going to give her clemency and send her back to South Africa where she's going to serve the sentence, the Pew squad had already done the job. Basically, she is busy frying in the crematorium. I remember my spirit left my body when I heard, I was like, oh my God, China doesn't play games. China does not play games. Even Botswana did the same thing to us as well. With that lady, what her name, Barbara or something. I think she had unalived her husband in Botswana, and so she was sentenced to. And South Africa was negotiating. I think at the time, Thabo Mbeki just became the president. Just after Nelson Mandela was, because it happened around 1999 or so. And South Africa did everything. So while they're busy having these diplomatic negotiations, and she was sent home in an urn as well. That was it. That was it. Hmm. Yeah. Magdalene, how are you doing? Things are revealing since Mkwana spoke. Rata and Baloy are tantalizing. And where is the Speaker of the Court, Gininda? He just vanished into thin air. Where is Gininda, by the way? Ooh, there's a national search for Brigadier Gininda. What if he's, hey, I'm just saying, with all that expose, what if he's, already, but it's hush hush. But no, he would have appeared in court by now. He would have appeared in court. Unless everything is hush hush. I don't know. But where is he? Is he on a nervous leave? Or he skipped the country? What? What? I don't know. That would be funny. Abu Dhabi says, we like, please. Thank you for reminding. Please like the live, guys. Please like the live. I'll appreciate it. VMAX says, remember, Mkwanazi alleged it's the police, politicians, correctional services, prosecutors, and the judiciary. And he forgot the media. The country is watching everyone like a hawk. Hey, ever since that incident, I'm not falling asleep. I find myself tossing and turning all the way till about 5 in the morning. And because I'm just thinking, oh my goodness, we need to keep an eye on our country. We need to keep an eye. And yeah, you're right. We're all watching like a hawk. Seriously. Rata won't want to be suspected. I don't think anybody, after, especially when the judiciary was mentioned, I was like, ah. Cecil says, then defense must, is it go? Okay, I don't know what the CO is. Cecil says, then the defense must continue, okay, okay, with the case. Yeah, yeah. If it's rejected, then the defense will have to start putting some evidence on the table to rebut, including alibis and AVLs, I suppose, will be alibis. The cell phone records will also be alibis, I think. And then you're going to have Officer Makubo, Officer Butelezi, and you're going to have Hubab Zungu. Oh, a lot, a lot. Mamu Happy says he was correct, Umnisi, to teach Koza that he's just a local Nje. Yeah, just the person. And it was funny though. He was like, "You are not a local standard." I was like, "Yes, what does that mean? Let's check the dictionary." Boom, boom, boom. And it just simply means that you are a legal person that can sue and can also be sued. So he works for correctional services and therefore he's just an employee of a legal body, which is the correctional services. If they were not happy with the order, the correctional services as a legal body ought to have made an application and sued the decision. Things that we are learning, hey? Somebody else was asking me what does prima facie. I read it as prima facie. What does that mean? And I looked it up. It just means in the face of it, meaning like if you, in the face of it, if you're looking at my face, what's the first thing that comes to mind? That I'm a human being. So that means if you see my face and you're saying this is a human being, then yes, I'm a human being. So same goes when there's a prima facie evidence. It means dig a little deeper. That accusation is going to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, or can at least be tested in court to be evidence that is beyond a reasonable doubt. That's what I understood of what a prima facie means. Lambo says, but Rata allowed it. There is no excuse, especially the ones that are just 10 minutes away. And then I went straight to thinking about the 45 to 60 minutes of tea time. I rest my case. Yeah, absolutely. Hmm. Have a point there. Absolutely. Oscar says, can I ask, is nowadays the defense can call Kelly to the court? Yeah, because what's his name? Advocate Baloy even said witnesses that were not called by the state, they are disposable to the defense. So yeah, they can call them. So that means Longwe, Kelly Kumalo, the mother, and all those people that were not called, including Ubab Zungu, they are at the defense disposed. They're at the disposable of the defense. Vusi, what's happening? I haven't seen you in a very long time. What's happening? Hishi Nsizwa Yakiti. Oh, Heshe. Heshe. Hishi. The coconut kicked in. You see? Uh, Unjadu Frederick, thank you so much for coming. I haven't seen you in a very long time, Vusi. Valentine, oh my, I almost missed the live. Well, you're welcome. We've been around for since 9 o'clock. Since 9 o'clock on the dot. VMAX says, Oscar, yes, the defense can call anyone who the state didn't call. Yeah. Oscar says, can I ask, is it possible the defense to call Kerikuma? Yes. Yes. To come and tell her story as they said she's a mastermind. Yeah, she can. The defense can call her. Yes. Valentine says he is here in the comment section. I Rada Bay. We'll never know. We'll never know. Oscar says, Vimet, thanks. Babe says, I know about the guest of honor, Mapisa. Yeah, absolutely. So, Umumalo Shem, when he gets criticized, I always feel bad. Like, oh, poor guy. What is he supposed to do? Tell his client to commit a crime right there so that he can say something in his defense. I don't know. So I always excuse Umumalo. Whether he does contribute or he doesn't contribute, uyidlala imali yena nje. It just fell off the sky, I suppose. And there's nothing wrong with that. Because he can't say, oh, I can't take any money, guys. He's an advocate. This is his business. Most advocates, they are running private business, I mean, private practices. So if it decided to choose him, it chose him. Baby daddy official. Baby daddy, congratulations. South Africans failed to help Meyiwa family. Senzo was a national player. Everybody knew him and loved him. Can there be today's strike for his justice? Well, I think South Africans, they are doing everything in their power to get him justice. We don't have much power except our voices, except asking questions and holding people accountable. That also includes calling out the people that we believe have to answer or at least have a case to answer. I think that's as far as we can do. Anything else beyond that, I don't know how else we can help. Babe says, maybe the judges got a reminder that guys, you are supposed to be impartial. I hope so. I really hope so. To feed a higher clientess, it is important that the justice must not be done or served, but must be seen to be done. Yeah, that. I think that's the general principle, I suppose, which sometimes you're like, is that so? Therefore, we exalt our judiciary. Yeah, like I always said, guys, I learned that the judges in this country, they can get away with a lot. A lot. You can't correct a South African judge, even if they are wrong. You can't tell them anything. I mean, we've heard Judge Ratha say, no, you can't argue with the judge. We're like, oh, okay. And so that is why many lawyers understand that, and they will say, as the court pleases, that it gets shut down just like that. So yeah, I don't know. Baby says Slope. Yes, Slope. That's the in-law of the Meyiwas who got the call from Tumelo, I believe, if my mind serves me correctly. Supamanda says no, not the tavern judge, but other judge would grant, not the one who received the brown envelope allegedly. Well, hey, so one according A7, how it all goes. But I think it's going to be an argument, of course. The defense will have to show where the state fails to prove its case beyond a reasonable doubt. That also includes calling witnesses. That also includes calling the accused on the stand as well. Docker says, your clan awungibizanga ngizizele nge-like yami. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much, Docker. I appreciate you. Mamu, Mamu Happy said, as for Dockers, I know, right? Mamu Happy says, Mr. Shopper, my brother, not strong. Yeah, 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 I get it now. It was Shopper. I get confused between the Shoppers, Strongwanes, and Strong. Is it Strongwan or Strongwan? Yeah, I do get confused sometimes which is which. You guys know my issue, right? Same goes with short. To this day, I don't know what the difference is. So the moment there's a yin yang, my brain scrambles. Babe says Sifiso Meyiwa's cousin, Siabonga Mia, as well has been talking to radio stations. Oh, okay. Doctor says, why Mara untangling my friend or untangling my uh, don't tangle me indeed. Mkolisi. Hi, Mr. Dumaguta. What's up, Mkolisi? So, what is going to happen now since Bob Absalom Zungu came forward with such a revelation? Well, I don't know, honestly speaking. I have no idea how he was going to be incorporated, but now that the defense has to prove beyond a reasonable doubt that these are the wrong accused, he would have to play a pivotal role in their defense, I suppose. But I think the key witness for me, or the two key witnesses for me, is Makubo and Buteles, because they detached themselves from 636. They came with 375. Where did they get it from? What evidence did they collect that says no? The suspects are the people that were with Senzo Meyiwa on that fateful night. Doctor says, Mamu happy. Why Mara ungang bizanga my friendship? But I did put the notification. I think around six. I think it was like 6:15 or something. 3 hours before. Priest Lamini says, "Kuyashisa ngempela." The judge must grant whatever the councils want or the councils want by beyekele ukudlala ngathi ngci priests Eswatini. Are you Pastor Ngci? Right? Hey, from Eswatini, what's happening, Eswatini? Eswatini these days are on the news. Have you guys seen the Vusmuzi Cat Matlala that possibly is not a South African citizen but a Swati citizen? But even Eswatini, it's questionable. I think his South African Eswatini identification was if Ushuba Ngalana is able to guise himself as a Swati person and kind of blend in to the country while South Africa is trying to find him. He basically would have disappeared into thin air, something like that, because he calls himself a totally different name and surname under the Eswatini identification. Hey, people. Musa says, Clancy, so why are you always laughing when you come across with our Dr. Steve and the comment section? Come on, bro. Don't do this to me. He has forgiven me. He says he completely understands. Because in my head, remember, I'm seeing his, what do you call this? His profile name, but I don't see the picture. So now when I read Sibanda, I already know the Sibanda, Dr. Sibanda now. It just comes in my head and I'm thinking, gosh, but now why are you adding fuel to it? He's forgiving me. He says, hey, laugh away if you have to. Mami Funega, how are you doing? Says that lady became a celebrity. Her welcome back was like a princess. I'm putting dot who she was transported. Um, who are we talking about again? Please remind me, Mama Funega. Uh, I'm trying to think of who we're talking about. Please assist me again, please. I'm trying to think who that is. Babe says, yeah, prima facie means at first sight. This case is our lecturer, unfortunately, at Meyiwa's and accused expense. Trust me. I mean, if you had to take us to law school right now, I think we would pass first year with flying colors, all of us. Maybe we'll start struggling around second year, third year, or something. But first year, ngeke usitshele lutho. And nothing you can tell us because it's an introductory to law, I think, or into LLB. And you can't tell us anything. Now you can't tell us anything. So that's one of the things that I appreciate about this case. We got to learn about our courts, our judiciary, about our criminal justice system and its flaws, and also privileges and attitudes of some of these people that are actually in charge of these. Vimex says, so what can finish this case immediately? Judge Ratha. Judge Ratha is the person that can end it all using his court discretion, like he did with Fiso Wushentuli, removing him from Jose Mampuru to Leocop. He used the court's discretion, and he can also use the court's discretion if the court finds that it's not assisted in at all by the state. The state is fumbling. The state hasn't proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt. A solid alibi for just one of the accused. The cell phone records and the DNA, solid to the T. To the T. That is why I got shocked when Judge Ratha did not put an end to this. But instead, he argued against the science of the DNA. And also, when he came out to the cell phones, he said, but somebody else can have somebody's. I was like, oh, I'm done. Like, there was always some explanation. Like, yeah, somebody as well, he could have given his cell phone to somebody to go with it to Joburg while he went and committed the crime. Not that he said that, but that's the impression he was giving when he was arguing against the cell phone records. Like, sir, oh. Mamu Happy says defense should not call anyone who was in the house. I, I would say call the weakest link, somebody who will break on the stand. Like Omar Pir, you are saying the story is two intruders. Even no Maga Senzo asked this question, ukuthi wena uqinela igebengu ezangena kanjani? How did you clean for criminals, for intruders? That is a very important question. If indeed they were intruders, shouldn't you have left the crime scene alone so that when the forensics come, they collect the evidence? But no, when are you cleaning for the intruders? So that what happens? So, yeah, call her and answer that question. She will break. She might even plea, as the Americans will call it, the fifth. And I think the old Judge Ratha would actually advise her against speaking. He'll say, you have the right to not to incriminate yourself, just like he did with Zungu when he was being asked. I think he was being asked by the late Ngomezulu. When you are sitting with criminals committing a crime in your presence and you're a police officer, and then Judge Ratha said, don't answer that, that would be tantamount to self incrimination. And the relaxation in Zungu's voice after that, I wabagiva, show that caught flames after that. And that's when he started going to say, yeah, but before he was like, yeah, but, and he'll say, yeah, but my lord, yeah, but my lord. Suddenly, Wapela, yeah, but my lord, like, wow. Simply because the judge protected him. from giving the answer. You are a police officer, and then you are in the presence of a commission of a crime, and prior and after, and then you find out where they're coming from because the news is saying Senzo Meyiwa has been unalived. Then you say you put two and two together and you start talking about hoodies and you were talking about Jameson. Was it James or Jameson that they drank in celebration? Hey, I was interested to hear the answer, but we were robbed of it. Koza was there to intimidate everyone. Even the way he sounded, he was like, I wamehli so rata, wamehli so where slash. By the time he was like, I would have been embarrassed if I was him. Embarrassed. But his Zamo failed dismally. Yeah, he left. He was embarrassed. He started like Sergeant Ndlovu and it ended in tears. Yeah, it really did. I was I was almost embarrassed for him, but I laughed. I was laughing after the lecture he got from Nisi and Uramusipili. Ramusipili played a very, very brainy game on him. Mamu Happy says, sorry, my love. I thought it wasn't going to be this long talk. Well, it's quite long, right? Subu says, I mean, on the next election, I'll vote for MNCP, Mkwanazi Non-Corruption Party. Hey, that would be nice. But then again, I mean, and political parties, I now want individuals that I can hold accountable. And if they cannot account, I can remove. That's what I'm looking for. Political party, in fact, let's not talk about that. Otherwise, I'll start getting all hyped out about it. So I'll just leave it here. My opinions are already out in some videos if you are interested. Babe says, and it's quite funny how some people think I campaign for other political. I don't, not even one political party. I would criticize each and every political party that works against South Africans. I don't care how you love that leader. I couldn't give a rat's to how you love that leader. I'm going to criticize them. Babe says, after this case, these Gulugudus and Tanzi must thank the nation in public for making noise. No, I don't think I want that. For me, it's more about us as South Africans because this could have happened to any of us. What happened to Danzi and Muzi and the others? It could have happened to any of us. So I don't think they owe us anything, honestly. I think more than anything, we're fighting for ourselves as well, or anybody that could find themselves in that position and they are family members of ours. Yeah, that's as far as I can respond to that. But if they want to say thank you, okay, I don't have a problem with that either. But I wouldn't think they owe us anything. JP's wife, how you doing? There's no way that Rata will grant 174. There is the confessions. Mubes admitted that it is Gan Zungu Putwahisa with Mube and Ntuli. Okay. Okay. All right. All right. I think we've already covered everything that you said there because we were all present. I was hoping you will also include the DNA, the crime scene. You would also include the AVLs. You would include the cell phone records. You would include the gold tooth and gold teeth. So many things that were left out, and selectively was the confession. Mube admitted the gun is his. Zungu's, I don't know what that is. Mube and Tuli, I don't know what that means either, but okay. Valentine says Shololo has learned how to control her temper. I, I would not say it's a temper, Valentine. Shololo has a lecturer's voice. Let me put it. I don't know if maybe she's a lecturer somewhere. It's what you call a lecturer's voice. It rises, especially if there's emphasis on that, and people mistake it for temper. There are a lot of people like that. I used to have three teachers in high school who were exactly like Umisim Shololo. If you are taught about her for the first time, you think you are being shouted, almost traumatized. No, it's on emphasis and it's also for clarity and audibility so that you are heard. Um, yeah. If the delivery as well almost looks assertive when actually no, they're not angry, they're not temperamental at all. So I think she had to be conscious about it. Like, okay, let's be conscious about it, and hence you feel the way you do that she's no longer like hyped up like that. I do see Nisi as well now and again. He would do it as well, but he subdues himself. I so love how she blue ticks nonsense and just states her case. Yep, I also love how she does that. Um, I also love that. Makosi says the judge I saw yesterday and today is a different from the one I'm used to. All of us, all of us. All of us, I'm telling you. Edward says, surely he will, because cartels are running away from General Lieutenant Mkwanazi. They don't want to be seen arrested like they did about Advocate Death inside the courtroom. Because even the demeanor of you know who, 99% win of cases. I mean, I would also look over my shoulder like, hey, what happened to Advocate Death? It should not happen to me too. But then if it happened, I don't think Rata will actually keep quiet. He won't keep quiet. He will say something. What's happening? Ah, stranger. Stranger. How are you doing, stranger? Yes, Ramos has grown into a very formidable attorney over the years. Yeah, he is sharp minded. Yo, he is sharp minded, that guy. He continues to say the judge has changed tactics because he knows it's game over. I hope so. I hope he realizes that it's business unusual now. Zavasa continues to say, "What is this JP's wife saying? Team State." You know how they like, right? It was Valentine says, I want to say to control her emotions. Oh, okay, okay. Yeah, even that as well. I wouldn't say she's emotional. It's a lecturer's voice. If in a lecture hall, in most cases there are no microphones. So I'm thinking maybe she emulates a certain lecturer, and she brought that emulation into the courtroom because the microphone that I think the only I don't know if there've always been microphones in court. I don't think so. So audibility is very important to be heard by the magistrate or a court, as well as the gallery, the accused, the whatever that is in there. And also the recording also must catch what you are saying. So I think that's what it is. Babe says Shalolo is passionate, not angry, my dear. Yeah, I would say maybe even passion, like anything that has to do with emotions. I don't think that is the case. It's for audibility, and yeah, that's what you call it, a lecturer's voice, as I call it at least. TM says, okay, Valentine, apologies accepted. Okay, Zwede is the last person, and the emoji. What is the emoji? Is it Fire Brigade? Bizani Fire Brigade, as Patricia Mashali will say. Bizani Fire Brigade. Guys, I think we've come to the end of our live. It is now over 1 hour 40 minutes since we've been here. Mamu Habi says, I still don't trust our Tavet. Rather, yeah, well, we are traumatized. We are justified in your feelings, by the way, TD. We are all justified, I must say. Other than that, guys, I guess we have to leave it right here. Worried about. Oh, okay, all right, okay. JP's wife. Is this? I don't know. Maybe I misread your comment because we do get like as I would call snide comments from Team State people, very selective, and then you're like, okay, but you left a lot of information out, you know. So now I see what you're saying. Because of the things that you mentioned, he will reject this 174. Okay, I got you now. See now, much clearer, much clearer now. I get you. All right. So okay, she's not Team State. She's not Team State. JP's wife is not Team State. Now I get you. I get you. I get you 100%. Um, Zrita says hello, y'all. It's time for me to go. Babe says be careful with the emojis. Babe slapping. Zrita says since Rata says he listens to all the evidence, he should grant the 174 application by defense. I think so too. I mean, he's the one who placed himself there, but I listen. 55 years experience. I mean, surely you can see tactics when they are being played as well. I don't know. Guys, I gotta go. Thank you all so much for hanging out and checking out if Section 174 in the Senzo Meyiwa murder trial is going to be granted or not. We'll see. We'll see. So I'm sorry as well with the connection of my Wi-Fi this evening is just problematic. But thanks, thank you all, and we shall see each other tomorrow. I think I might come live again tomorrow around this time. We'll see what Nkwan's expose shall reveal, because there's more coming, I think. A whole lot more. So thank you all for participating. Much love coming from me. And take care. Good night. Sweet dreams.